Hey, y'all, welcome back to episode 99 of the Late Night Vision Show. We have a great show for you today. We're talking about the Pulsar Digex N450. But before we get to that, as you all know, last week's show we were talking about the coronavirus. We are still in the midst of a coronavirus lockdown. And I'm going to bring in my good buddy, and I got a question for you, Mr. Jason Robertson of Outdoor Legacy Gear. Yes, the world is in panic and meltdown mode at this point and chaos. But man, hadn't the memes been just the best part of this whole thing?
I tell you what, if you're not on social media right now, this is the time to get on, just for nothing else but all the jokes and the memes and the funny pictures. And, normally I'm not into those things too big. It just kind of gets old. But the coronavirus thing has just... there has been some great comedy come out of a pretty serious and perplexing situation, and I tell you, it's actually pretty nice to laugh about some of the stuff because all the things going on in the world. But there has been some great ones, that's for sure.
It has been the silver lining in this whole thing, and it's kind of funny. And we're going to make last week. We were more serious about it, I think, than we are this week, but there have been some funny ones. I'll talk about a couple.
I want to say this too, real quick. It's the whole coronavirus in conjunction with the lack of toilet paper. So those two things combined is just guaranteed for some good memes. That's the jokes have been good.
So you and I pretty much nonstop for the past week have been texting each other memes back and forth.
That's true.
our favorite ones. So, you have, it's kind of interesting as the world experiences something that in our lifetime we've never experienced, which is just a complete shutdown of society, government, economy, everything. Our natural instinct, I guess, for humor is just to meme ourselves into oblivion.
To make jokes. Yeah.
Jokes and meme. And it's kind of funny, but so I sent you one. It was a guy with the weirdest looking haircut you could ever think of. And he had no bangs, I guess, in the front, and had these side hair. I don't even know. It looked weird. But anyway, it was 18 months of us doing home haircuts or something like that, cutting ourselves at home.
Yeah.
And I guess the other funny one that I really liked was where Jim from The Office is looking through the blinds in a window, and it says, gun owners watching non-gun owners gather supplies for them. So there's been some great ones.
There has. I think that my favorite one, and I just keep passing it around because I just get tickled about it. And I know I've sent it to you about 3 times, but I can't quit laughing. Is that it's got the Taco Bell symbol, and it says, "Due to the shortage of toilet paper, all Taco Bells will be closed until further notice." I just can't help but laugh because Taco Bell and toilet paper, that is a requirement.
No joke. So, it seems like I've been going to our local grocery store here in town. It's, they're out of a few things. Y'all, again, I talked about last week, my wife sent me to the grocery store for bleach. And the woman's got to wash her clothes, so she loves the bleach. So I got some of that. But I have, what's funny, and we got to laughing and tickled about it today. I go through spurts where I just get really hungry for certain types of food, and that's all I want to eat. Well, right now, ever since this happened, all I want to eat is ramen noodles, and you cannot find a dang bag of ramen noodles anywhere in this state, and that's all I want to eat right now. Ramen noodles.
I don't know anybody that wants to voluntarily eat those unless they're completely broke. Are you that broke already that you're already eating ramen noodles?
I've always loved ramen noodles, and but I go through spurts where I'll eat them a lot, and then I won't eat them for 2 or 3 years.
Man.
It just so happens that when I'm hungry for it, that's the first thing that goes. Ramen noodles, any dry goods, any kind of stuff like that. And I'm just dying for a bag of ramen noodles, and you can't find one anywhere in the state.
You're killing me.
Yeah. But so, I will say this, if, it's hard to say if you're affected by this, but yes, everybody is affected by this. All of us are affected by this, and staying at home and shelter in place and all this kind of stuff. I will say this, Jason, we've been really fortunate with the industry we're in, and man, the phones are still ringing off the hook. People are still buying scopes. People are still engaged with the content that we are producing here on YouTube for the podcast, as well as on iTunes and our audio podcast. And people are still buying scopes. There's no rhyme or reason, whether it's just preparedness or if it's still, people are going to hunt.
People are going to kill hogs. The hogs have not slowed up. And so I think in the coyotes as well. But things are oddly business as normal. I think that it's kind of surprised me a little bit of the amount of sales that we've continued to have, and everything has been rolling along really smooth. And we're really thankful for that. I know that everybody is affected in some way or another, some people more than others. My wife is a hairdresser, owns a salon, and it's closed. She's out of work now indefinitely till this deal blows over. So it hits home close to everybody, but at the same time, I know that there's a lot of guys who've just been planning on buying a scope. It's something they want. They've saved up for it, or, they've got it in the budget and they're going to go on with it, which is completely understandable. So things have been good. I will say we talked last week, and I don't want to get too far in depth in this. I just want to drag this out because we have a review to get to. But we talked about how the supply chain was going to be affected. And there has been, since that recording last week, some more information. And basically what I would just say is this, from what we're hearing from the manufacturers, there can be or could be, we may experience some disruptions. So far we don't know about anything like being completely shut down. We're not going to get anything. But I think that as this progresses in just the week since we recorded, last week until this week, every day it seems like there's something new, and that's happening in Europe as well. And so I think we're going to see some, just a slowdown in some shipments. I think that their stuff's still going to keep coming, but I don't think the supply is going to be necessarily where we all want it to be. But anyway, if you are looking for something, give us a call. We do have inventory. As of right now, again, we're in the end of March, so 2020. You may be watching this a year from now, going, the coronavirus. I forgot about that. That's ancient history. But we're in the middle of it right now. So anyway, absolutely, things are going good, and we're thankful and blessed for that.
Yeah, very blessed. Well, I tell you, like I said, y'all keep the memes going. It's really the highlight of Jason and I's day.
It is.
To be able to send those back and forth, and it does. I'm a sucker for a good meme. I tell you, I forward that thing around like it's hot. So, so y'all keep them coming. But you're talking about things and stuff, new stuff coming out. I've got a stack of boxes behind me that I've tripped over a few times of just new scopes that need to be reviewed and talked about. The one that we're going to be talking about today this has gotten a lot of buzz ever since the SHOT Show. People have wanted to know about it. They really want to see a lot of comparison between this and some other stuff. But today we're going to be doing a full review on the Pulsar Digex N450. I've got one in my hand right now. Jason's going to go through the specs. I'm going to twirl this thing around like it's
Vanna White,
hot potato.
You're the Vanna White of the late night vision show. So
God help us all. Right.
Yeah, so let's talk about this real quick. I just want to say that this is a digital night vision scope from Pulsar. A lot of people know Pulsar for thermal scopes, but Pulsar was in the digital night vision business long before they were in the thermal business. And they make, in my opinion, I don't think there's anyone on the market that competes with them when it comes to high quality, high end digital night vision devices. This has been their game for a very long time. And again, a European scope company, they're going to make good stuff, and their digital night vision is no different. This unit that we're going to talk about is the N450.
I'm sitting here spinning this thing. You haven't even got to the specs yet.
I know. Well, it's going to be a little bit.
You're going to get tired by the time
you can set it down. It's going to be a little bit.
Yeah, but if you're listening on audio version, hop on over to YouTube if you want to see pictures of this thing. I'm holding it up right now. So.
Exactly. So this is the N450. There's also an N455. For those that don't know, I'm not going to get into all the details on this because we just have to do it every time. But the N450 is the 850 nanometer version. That is the infrared illuminator that comes with it. Then the N455 version has a 940 nanometer infrared illuminator. Essentially, this is the way that I look at it. The US version is the N450. I don't know anybody buying the N455. I don't even know if Pulsar USA is getting those in. I haven't asked. I haven't looked. Maybe they are. We didn't order a single one, and we have absolutely no intentions of it. The N450 is the one that 99.9% of the people in the US are going to buy. And so that's the one we're going to talk about. That has the brighter, better illuminator with it. And I also think, we'll kind of get into this later in the review, I think there's going to be a lot of people take this illuminator off and maybe add an aftermarket illuminator, so this doesn't really matter. So, jumping in on the specs. All right, we got Vanna White still over here. I hope she's...
You mean we hadn't got to the specs yet?
Hadn't got to the specs yet. All right, so get ready. All right, so for those that aren't seeing this, it is in a 30 millimeter aluminum scope tube housing. If you have seen a Pulsar Thermion thermal rifle scope, this is it. It's in the exact same housing as the Pulsar Thermions. The buttons are the same. The menus are the same. It is the same scope and design. So again, 30 millimeter scope tube housing. It's got a 1280 by 720 I almost said thermal, digital imaging sensor in it. So it is high resolution, 1280 by 720. It's a 4-power base magnification. It does go up to 16 power on the digital zoom. Again, I don't think you're going to go to 16 power. You're probably going to want to use it somewhere around that 4. 8 is going to be the max you're going to want to go before the image is going to start breaking up on you. It's got a 1.97 inch eye relief. And so this is going to be perfect for the guys that are wanting to put something on a bolt gun. It'll work just fine on an AR as well. It has an AMOLED display screen. That is, I was just making sure. Yeah, AMOLED display. It's got all the same features that we're used to from the Pulsar Thermions, the Pulsar Trails, the Pulsar Digisites, any of those. So it's going to have picture-in-picture. It's going to have internal audio and video recording. It's going to have the Stream Vision app, which is streaming to a smartphone app. All that's going to be built in. It takes the APS-3 battery system. Now, if you're not familiar with the Thermions, you may not be familiar with these batteries, but what they are, they're about the size of your thumb, and I might have said APS-3. I don't know. It takes the APS battery system. So there's two different batteries. APS. There's an APS-2 and an APS-3. Now, this may take a minute, but I want to explain this battery system for people who aren't familiar. There is one battery that is internal in this scope. It is laying horizontally in the scope tube, and it's an APS-3. It is permanently in there. You and I cannot take it out. Pulsar can service it, but we cannot, and it is in there. It is a rechargeable internal battery. Then on the top, under what looks like the top scope turret, when you twist and pull that off, there is a battery hidden in there. And you can put either an APS-3, which is the longer battery life, just like the one that's inside, or you can put in a shorter APS-2. The scope comes with, as I mentioned, the APS-3 in the tube, and it comes with an APS-2 that you can slide into the top. So it's your choice there. You can buy extra batteries. The APS-2s are about $79. The APS-3s are about $99. And I know everybody's going to immediately say, okay, so what's the battery life? I did not do a bench test on this unit, but going back to the Thermions, which this is going to have a similar battery life, and from my just general use of it, I believe the battery life is extremely similar, if not possibly a little longer. But I'm not going to go with longer. I'm going to just go with about the same battery life since I did not bench test it. And you're going to be looking on the bench around 6 hours. In the field, I think that's going to definitely lessen down as you're using it. You're using the zoom, you're using the video recording, you're using, picture in picture. All those things are, and turning it off and on a lot. You're going to get down there into that 4.5 to 5 hour battery life is what I would expect as it comes from the manufacturer. If you add the longer lasting APS-3 in the top, then you can probably add another 45 minutes to an hour to that. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, one thing I also want to mention here is the illuminator on this optic. It is a quick detach removable illuminator. It has got a pretty little ingenious mount that goes around the 30 millimeter scope tube housing, and it quickly locks on. You can change that from left to right, either side you want, whichever you prefer. And that illuminator also takes a secondary APS battery. So you can use another APS battery there. Again, some people may end up using an external illuminator of their own choice. That's perfectly fine as well. But that unit does take the APS batteries. And again, I want to be clear on this because there's been some confusion. It is an independent device from the scope. It has its own battery source, and you can take it completely off the scope, no wires, no nothing. It's independent, and it's just locked on there. So moving on from there, it is just like all the other Pulsars, an IPS 6.7 rating, which means it is dust and dirt proof, and it is waterproof, submersible, 3 foot for 30 minutes. No need to worry about it getting in the rain. And last, it is rated for up to and including a 375 H&H and a 12 gauge shotgun. So this thing is it's made for pretty much everything. And I think the only thing I might have left out is the most important thing, and that's the price. I should have said that at the beginning.
I was about to say.
Yeah, it is $1,195, $1,195 for this unit, and that is the cheapest digital night vision optic that I'm aware of that Pulsar has ever made. The Digisites, there's a Digisite Ultra N450 we've reviewed before. We'll be coming back talking about that in another episode with this unit, and it's $1,295, so this is $100 less. And like I said, to my knowledge, it's the least expensive digital night vision they've ever made.
So if y'all have been watching me hold this thing up, you can see that it is mounted with the American Defense Manufacturing mount. This is the same mount that we mount our Thermions with. It's a QD mount, 30 millimeter obviously rings. It's a cantilever, so it's kind of got it sitting forward a little bit. But this mount fits on here perfectly. It's a QD mount, so you can take it on and off, put it on different rifles, sight it in. You don't have to re-zero it. These ADM mounts are awesome. I'm going to tell you, Jason, I had to clean my 6.5 Grendel barrel, so I took my scope off, cleaned the barrel real good, put the scope back on, put the rifle all back together, took one shot. It was right on the money, right where I left it.
Yeah.
I didn't have to re-sight. I mean, these American Defense Manufacturing mounts that we sell over here at Outdoor Legacy Gear, they're the best that I've used.
They're the real deal. They're
American made.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna. And if you want this Digex, you're gonna want a nice mount to go with it. You're gonna have one. You want one that's reliable, that you can take the scope on and off without sighting it in. You're gonna want a good mount. And this American Defense Manufacturing is a great mount.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I'll just pile on there and say that we harp on this mount, but we've sold a lot of them, and guys love them. They're about $180, which is, I know, not cheap, but this is a legitimate, as Hans said, American-made, lifetime guarantee, return to zero mount. It works. Yep. If you mount it correctly and you've got that thing set up right and your rail is tight or forged like it is on an AR, there's nothing moving. You take that thing off and on, and it goes right back to zero.
Right.
So definitely it's a very good mount. But if you don't want to use that, any 30 millimeter rings will work, but I would highly recommend that. And one thing I want to say, you mentioned that it is cantilevered. Because we're using them on ARs, collapsible stocks, we will have that thing cantilevered forward a little bit. If you put that, maybe you've got a fixed stock or you're putting it on a bolt gun or something, and you want to turn that thing around to get better eye relief, you can do that. You can turn that so that scope is then pushed back towards the buttstock. So that's the nice thing about the cantilevered mount, is you get the choice of whether you want to push it forward or you want to push it back. So anyway, that's our 2 cents on the mount.
Yeah, you were talking about this IR mount on the Digex here.
Mm-hmm.
It is a really, and I was taking it on and off while you were talking, but it is a really cool little design that they used. A little ingenious
It is.
engineering here. I mean, the way that the lever flips up and the whole light comes off. Because you're right, there's a lot of people now. You know. IR lights, Sniper Hog lights. There's other brands out there that are very popular. A lot of people are running with them. You see them mounted on rifles all the time. You know, we talk about it and you kind of laugh. The Coyote cannon that's maybe close to about as long as this scope right here that I got in my hand.
That's right.
And just joking, but I tell you, there's some big IR lights that people are running with right now. So this one can be easily taken off or switched to the other side. It's a really cool design. You can really tell it's well thought out and planned. And you can just the engineering of this thing. I mean, this is not just something slapped together to see if it's going to work, or just a run or test model, or
Yeah.
it's a really well built, and you expect that from Pulsar. But
You do. Well, I'm going to go on for one more minute about this, and then we'll shut up about this little IR mount. I've looked at that thing 3 or 4 times, and what kills me about it is that you think about when you take something off that's on, let's say, the left hand side of the scope, and you want to put it on the right hand, you think you got to turn it around backwards in the mount. This thing, you just move it over there, and then it somehow all locks back together. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Every time I do it, I feel like it's like some Rubik's Cube. I'm like, how did that just happen? How did I not? Shouldn't this thing be facing backwards? So it is a pretty ingenious design.
Another cool little design is this IR light itself. If you want to use the IR light, we'll talk about ranges and how far you can see, but it's kind of the light is built into the mount, so you can't necessarily move the light around to point it exactly where you want. What you do is you unscrew this little turret here in the middle part of the
ring,
light. And you turn that, and you can tilt this light up or down, or move it all around, up, down, moving around. I'm starting to rhyme. And
the hokey pokey.
Do the hokey pokey, stick it all out, and bring it all back again, I guess. So you can tighten this thing down once you get the light pointed to where you want. You tighten it down with that ring, and I mean, that's a cool little design too. I mean, it's really, like I said, there's a lot of thought put into the design and manufacturing this thing. But I'll tell you, the layout, the button layout is exactly almost identical to the Thermion thermal scopes. So me picking this thing up was able to use it right away without any question. But if you're new to night vision, if you're new to this type of technology, I think a lot of people always call us, Jason, and the one thing that they're concerned about is, I don't know nothing about technology. I can barely work my phone. I don't want anything that's too difficult to run. I'm going to tell you, and a good thing about Pulsar, it's about as easy as it gets. All this stuff involves some level of technology, and these days you're not going to escape it. Everything that you touch pretty much has some level of technology built in. But there's not a lot of or not a long learning curve when it comes to this kind of stuff, and it's really, they've made it pretty much as easy as they can. There's a menu ring on the side of this where you hold down the button right here in the middle of this ring. It turns so you can move navigate through the menu screen. But it's once you learn the basic functions of the buttons, everything else is easy. And the sign-in process, again, is still the same and as easy as any other Pulsar. So, I think with if we're going to grade the engineering and design, I'm definitely, because I'm a huge fan of the Thermion design, I'm definitely going to give this an A+ because I love the Thermion design.
Yeah, I mean, and I would have to agree, because look, this is the deal. That is the exact same housing as their $5,000 thermal scope. It's the same housing. It's not a downgrade. It's no different. They have put a digital night vision scope in the same thing as their highest end optic. So you're getting that quality. And I do agree. One thing that I do really like about the Digex, as well as the Thermions, but is that the 3 buttons that are on the rear of the scope. So on the rear eyepiece, you'll notice right on the top, there's 3 little buttons, a little pad there. And those 3 buttons are the 3 buttons that you're going to use when you're hunting. One is for the power. One is for the zoom, using the digital zoom, or turning on, picture in picture and turning it off. So it's a zoom. The other is to start and stop video recordings. So that's all that you're going to need to do once that scope is zeroed and you're in the field. Once you've got it set up and you're happy with everything and you go out for the night hunting, you need to turn it on. You may not even zoom it up. And if you don't record, you're not going to do anything. Turn it on, go hunting, turn it off when you get to the house. I mean, that's it. Not much to it. So I really do like that. I agree with you. I think the image quality is exactly what you expect. It's what we've seen from the other Pulsar Digisites. It is extremely responsive. There is no lag or sometimes this is my term, smearing. I use that word of when you move so fast, it's like the refresh rate is not high enough, and you'll see either choppy video or it's just everything kind of starts leaning as you move it. You don't see any of that. This thing is instant as you move around. Again, the resolution is good. Image quality is excellent. And I'm going to tell you, there's one big thing, and this is something that I forget about all the time when I talk about these Pulsar digital optics. So I've got to bring this up right now. If you take a lot of other digital optics that are less expensive, and that's something like maybe the Wraith or one of the AT&X sites or something, a lot of those optics, if you take the illuminator off, even on a brighter night, like a brighter moon, you don't see anything. It's black dark. There's nothing. And these Digisites and Digexes that Pulsar makes, they've got such a sensitive digital imaging sensor in there that on a full moon night, you can take the illuminator off. You don't even need it. I mean, that thing is bright. And when I had this thing for the first few nights, it was like a full moon. I couldn't wait for the moon to go away so that I could really see what the capabilities of it were, because it was just so bright out there. I'd turn it on. You could turn the illuminator off and on. You couldn't tell anything. And so, and to be honest with you, that's something I want to just real quick go down this road. That's something that is really good for a lot of situations, but in others, I feel like it almost looks better when I can use a really bright illuminator, and I can focus that light in right where I want it, and everything else is dark. It just feels like it really gives me that I can focus in on what I'm looking at. But when you go out there in that full moon, I mean, everything is lit up. It's like daylight. And so I don't know. I'm not saying it's bad. It is actually a nice feature, because you can just flip that thing on, especially if you were sitting on like a deer stand or something, waiting on hogs at a feeder or coyote hunting over a bait pile. You can just turn the illuminator off on a full moon night just to look down there and go, yep, there's nothing there, or yeah, there is. So that's a feature that I would say Pulsar has, really wrapped up.
Yep. Let's talk about the performance during the day, because that question's going to come up. As far as during the day, and I'm showing it right now with the lens cap covered, it is not, full time, during the day color HD screen.
Yeah, it's black and white day and night.
Yeah.
Well,
so no, go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to say this. I can make this simple. If you want to use this during the daylight, don't buy it. This is a digital night vision scope. If you want something for daytime use, you need to buy a Sightmark Wraith. That's the way to go for daytime, because they're full color. These do not. I mean, yes, it works. It's black and white. It looks weird. It's just not what you want to do. Now, if you go out to the stand and it's 45 minutes before dark and you don't want to carry, 2 rifles and 2 scopes, sure. Absolutely. It's fine. It's going to get you by in that pinch, but this is not it. And since you're talking about that, I want to mention something. I had a really good customer who is also a listener of the show. He bought one of these, and he said, and he had previously had a Wraith, and he said, man, I'm having a hard time getting it sighted in, because it's black and white during the day, and he couldn't see his target. And so finally, what I told him is, this is something good for people to know with these black and white optics during the day. again, we're talking about night vision, not thermal. You need a high contrast target. So even if you got to go make it, a piece of cardboard with a black circle in the middle. I mean, I don't care if you use electrical tape and make an X, if you use spray paint or white paper and a black dot. You need something high contrast because again, it's black and white. Just imagine what your game camera looks like during the day. If it's, again, black and white, what that looks like. If it's like late evening hours and it switches over and you get those black and white images, you just don't get a lot of contrast. So it does make it a little more difficult to zero. But you know what? Before, the ATNX sites and the Sightmark race, every night vision optic like this was black and white. So people have been doing it for years. It's nothing new. It's just the way they are.
Yeah. So, I had it out and I've been messing around with it. Gosh, I've had it now for a couple of weeks and was out looking at deer. I could see them really good, plain as day. At 200 yards was no problem with this. Now, we've done reviews on the sniper hog lights. Our favorite one is that 66
LRX.
LRX. That's our favorite one. If you put that with this scope, I mean, 600 to 800 yards, I don't think would be a problem. We were getting what? We were getting that much with the Wraith.
We were getting that much with the Wraith. Yeah, this scope's definitely capable of that. I'm not going to say it's capable of, of you IDing and shooting. I'm not at all suggesting that. But seeing there's animals down there, you can do it with that. Now, again, I want to be clear, that's with something like the 66 LRX or the Coyote Cannon, super bright IR light. The IR light that's in it, like Hans said, couple hundred yards is about all you're going to get out of that. It's a 200 yard. Yeah. And there may be some nights in some conditions, it may be 150, 175. But 200, you get a full moon night or a night even with some more moon, you may get that built-in illuminator at 250, 300, but that's not going to be a normal night, I don't think.
So, that's in the popular thing these days is those upgraded IR lights. A lot of people that are buying these now are putting a different IR light,
and we do sell those, FYI. I mean, we do sell all the sniper hog lights. So if you need one,
OutdoorLegacyGear.com. As well as these mounts, OutdoorLegacyGear.com.
And the scope.
The scope.
And the scope.
So, I think we've talked about our likes. Do you have anything negative that you want to bring up on this thing? I mean, I can't really. You're right about it. It would be nice if it had the full color HD screen during the day. But you're right. This is a night vision scope. It's made for hunting at night. You're not going to hunt with it during the day and love everything you see during the day. I mean, it's not. It's for using at night.
Yeah.
That's why people. But if you're wanting, one of the best night vision scopes you can get on the market, if you want the best quality, I think this is the one you're going to want to go with. If you don't care anything about hunting during the day with it, if you've got a different rifle set up with a daytime scope that you use and all you want something to hunt with at night, but you want the best, I mean, the Digex N450 is the best option, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, so if you ask me what my dislikes are, I honestly think on this unit, I'm going to have to find something to pick apart. And we do that. I mean, we're known for that. I would say that if
wrestling with it in my brain right now.
Exactly. Well, I can come up with two things that if you just forced me. And I'm actually trying to find something real quick so I can compare this to.
One of them might be, what we've talked about before in the past with the internal battery. We're not a huge fan of the internal batteries that's in it, but I mean that's just kind of the reality. We love our Thermion thermal scopes, and it has the same internal battery. But I mean, that's the way the industry's going. I mean, and while we don't sell ATN and we don't recommend them, that's where ATN has gone. It's where Pulsar is moving to. It's where we've been reviewing the AGM optics, their handhelds. They're all there. That's just kind of the way things are going right now. And like it, love it, hate it, it is what it is. So I think if I could do something, I would take out the internal batteries and extend the battery life some way. But I don't know any way to do that with that optic. So the only other thing
and I mean, again, I'm just trying to be nitpicky here, is it weighs about 36 ounces, so it's 2 pounds. And, that's pretty standard for what you're going to get out of one of these night vision or thermal optics, that especially that has aluminum, housing that's built like this. So, yeah, I don't think it's a problem, I mean, at all. And I just have to say one thing I want to bring up real quick, and we're not going to do a comparison right here of this to any other optics. But one thing we've glossed over in this is just kind of making the assumption a lot of people know. But again, it does have all the Pulsar features of video recording internally, no SD cards, anything like that. It just records it right on the scope. You plug a wire in, a USB cable, pull it off onto your computer. It has the Stream Vision app, which again streams live what you're seeing onto your smartphone or tablet. And then it also has the picture-in-picture function that Pulsar is famous for. And, that if you don't know what that is, it's where when you enable that, it puts a small postage stamp size image at the top of your screen that is zoomed in, and it has your crosshairs there. So that would allow you to take like that, say that first shot, say you got several animals there, you take that first shot zoomed in on the little image up top with the crosshair, and then after recoil, you blink, you come back, and you start using your full field of view, big crosshairs in the big screen. And so this thing's got a lot of features packed into it for the money, and I think that that's really what sets this apart from some of the less expensive optics.
Yeah, so I mean, I've got I've got the Digisight right here behind me, and we're going to be talking about soon. I'm sure at some point we'll be talking about some comparison between this and some other units. But, I agree with everything you say as far as any negatives or positives. I think it's a very well-built scope. I think the performance is good. I think the picture's great. And you're right about the quality of the sensor in it, being able to see at long distances without needing, a bright IR when there's a bright moon out. So, other than that, I mean, if you have questions about this, as always, there's a lot of people have talked about us on the show, and they do want to see more night vision equipment being used. We've got some stuff that we will be talking about further on down the road, and some more content related to that. But as always, if you have any questions about this, you can always give Jason and I a call at 877-350-1818. You can always, check out, the website, check on this stuff. I know availability.
Can you say that? Availability.
No. It's the ramen noodles, man. It screws up your brain. You can't talk.
It's the coronavirus.
Availability on these things is what, Jason, at this point for the Digexes and the
as of this week. Again, this is somebody could be watching this way down the road, but these are brand new for 2020. We didn't mention that. I mean, it's obvious. We're just now reviewing it. These were announced at SHOT Show. Again, we're in late March. As of the recording of this, and should be the airing, these are in stock. We're on our second or third shipment of these. We got all of our pre-orders filled. We had some more come in. We sold them all within about 24 hours. We've got another big batch that just showed up today, and they still should be some of those available by the time this airs in a day or so. So yeah, we've got them in stock. If we don't, we can back order them for you. I mean, we're going to have them coming in. It's just going to be, I shouldn't say we can back order them. We're going to have them back ordered. We can throw your name down on one. So if you're looking for any of the things that we've talked about tonight, whether it's this Digex N450, the Sniper Hog Lights, the American Defense Manufacturing mount, any of these things, or even something else we talked about, the Wraiths or the Pulsar Digisights, any of those things, definitely give us a call. You can check us out online, like Hans said, outdoorlegacygear.com. You can call Hans or I at 877-350-1818. And we really appreciate your business. And by making your purchases from Outdoor Legacy, that is what directly funds the Late Night Vision Show. So if you want more of these reviews, come buy your stuff from us. That's just my plea to you. So that's it. And my wife is not cutting hair right now, so my kids need to eat. Is that desperate? Am I acting desperate? No, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, we do appreciate y'all's business. We appreciate you listening to the show. If you want to find more from Hans, you can find him in all of his latest videos that he keeps putting out, more reviews, and he does a lot of in-depth reviews on these things after we've reviewed them here, and he shows footage and things from the field. So you can go check those out on YouTube at Hans, H-A-N-S-E-T-X, Hans East Texas. And you can subscribe to his channel there. You can also find him on Instagram. If you're looking for Outdoor Legacy, we're on all the social medias as well as YouTube. But the biggest place is OutdoorLegacyGear.com. And tell them where to find the Late Night Vision Show if they somehow stumbled upon us and don't know how to get back here.
Yeah, obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, you found it. So congratulations, you found the lucky pot of gold. You know what's kind of funny? I didn't know that this was a thing, but my daughter built a leprechaun trap, and I never heard of such a thing. But I guess her teacher at school was talking about it, and she built this little shoebox it's like a little trap where if they step on part of the box, they fall in.
Oh, wow.
And if they spend the night there and they have to leave you money for spending the night like a little hotel. So it's another way of them suckering money out of you. So she's like,
oh, man.
She wrote on the box that it was $5 a night. So my wife was
$5?
My daughter went outside and put this little box for the leprechaun to be trapped in, and she told me I had to go put $5 in this box for when my daughters woke up in the morning. So, man, I tell you, it is. All these things that
they get you coming and going. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, it is crazy.
I'm coming to your house. I'm gonna have a big leprechaun trap, and it's $100 for my stay.
Right. Yeah. So you can find I don't know how I've got off on that tangent, but you can find obviously the Late Night Vision Show on iTunes, Google Play. If you're on the road, if you can't watch on YouTube, and you're on a long haul or driving. We got a lot of listeners that listen on the road. You can find us out on the podcast apps on your phone. The best place to find all of our past content is going to be the latenightVisionShow.com, the website that we have that has all of our content, all of our video content up there. So you can check that out. As always, I'm telling you what, the hogs are moving right now down here in Texas. It's this time of year. My phone has been buzzing my pocket. Threads are about to pop off because my phone's been buzzing so much. But the hogs are moving. Y'all get out in the fields. Hey, they've locked us down, but they can't stop us from hunting. So we'll see y'all next time. Stay safe in the fields. Keep making them bacon pancakes. Thank you for joining us. We'll see y'all next week.